So I wanted to do a quick update. I've got my mum here staying for the weekend, so it's I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. I wanted to kind of fill you in on how our month following our failed fresh embryo transfer has gone, how I'm feeling, especially this last week. Fill you in on why I had a bit of an emotional meltdown this week, and what our plan is for our frozen embryo transfer, which I've already discussed in a previous video. I also want to go into a bit of detail as to why we're doing IVF. I got asked by someone I know why we're doing IVF and what the reasons were, and I told them after our first miscarriage in 2014 I had to have a D&C. Should have been about 9 weeks 4 days, and the baby was measuring 8 weeks 4 days, so I had to have a D&C operation, and basically told them that because of the D&C I got a infection following the surgery, and that's why my tubes have become blocked, and that's the reason why we're having to do IVF. When we found that out in November last year, after we tried for a year following the first D&C and had no luck, my focus was immediately shifted from feeling angry and questioning why this happened, to listening to what the doctors were telling me, that there were great candidates for IVF, and we're very likely to have immediate success with IVF, and so that was our sole focus for the next, up until now, really. We've been actively doing IVF cycles. We've now had 2 failed fresh transfers. We've in our second IVF cycle, so we've finished that. We've got 1 frozen embryo, which we didn't have last time. We only had the 1 to transfer our first IVF cycle. So because we're kind of in limbo now and not doing anything and having a break, I have been thinking about, ever since that person asked me why we're doing IVF, about why wasn't I given antibiotics after the D&C surgery? If I had, what could have been? I wouldn't be in this position. We went into the D&C perfectly healthy, no issues with either of us. When we conceived in 2014, we conceived in our 3rd month of trying, and 2 years later now, over 2 years, we've been trying and I'm not pregnant, and I had a really hard time this week dealing with the anger and the frustration, and especially towards my clinic. Any surgery you go into, there's risks. You sign your life away, but I've just been stewing over the fact that if there's even the slightest chance of an infection, it's 2016, why would you not give your patients antibiotics to eliminate that risk? It makes no sense to me, and it's really, this overwhelming sadness and anger, combination of the two, overwhelmed me this week. Just to the thought that it could have all been avoided, and I could still be perfectly healthy. My tubes could be, clear and fine if I'd just been given antibiotics. And I spoke to a friend who's had many D&Cs and laparoscopy surgeries, and depending on where she gets them done, sometimes she's given antibiotics, sometimes she wasn't. So I'd be curious to know if any of you, what happened in your situation after your D&C. Basically, this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, I really struggled to stay positive. I just overwhelming sadness and just tears coming down my face. I couldn't stop, and usually I'm pretty good at reminding myself of all of our blessings and staying positive, and we are in a much, you can't compare yourself to other people's situations, but there are so many positive factors. We got pregnant on our own since our laparoscopy twice, so that's amazing. But somehow this week, I just couldn't find the positive side of any of it. I just felt like I wanted to be a mum since I was little, and all because of not being given antibiotics, I'm in this position where we're struggling. And, if I had been, just the thought of what if I had been given antibiotics, we'd probably have a baby by now, and it's stupid to think about because what's done is done and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm obviously in a much more positive mind frame now. I have been pretty good this whole, of course, everyone has their moments and it's a tough journey. So you're bound to have your down days, but this last month since our failed fresh transfer, I've been in a really good headspace and positive. It was just these couple of days this week that I just, after that one question, why are you doing IVF? And it just got me thinking. I haven't felt that anger yet about the situation, about what happened. So I think it was good to feel that and let a bit of that anger out. I don't want to be doing another IVF cycle at the clinic we're at. I think I'm done with them. As you guys know, I've mentioned in previous videos, some of the nurses shouldn't be IVF nurses. Lack of empathy, just so blunt at relaying the news that your cycle's failed. And I know there are probably bad IVF nurses everywhere, no matter where you go, but I also feel like because of that, my clinic's protocol, not giving antibiotics after a D&C, because it's a straightforward procedure, I feel like they're responsible for me being in this position, me being in this situation, and they just don't care. That's another thing that really, they don't care. It's just, I've let it go as much as I can. Of course, can't let it go completely, but you do have to stay positive, and Tim's really helped me with that. And I just needed those days to just cleanse my soul. You who follow me on Instagram would have seen my posts, and thank you for everyone's kind words if you're one of them who left a comment. It's such an amazing community on here and Instagram. I think I will do a video about my laparoscopy experience as well, separately. Before I went in to get my laparoscopy almost a year ago now, I couldn't find anything online. I could find things online, but no one's experience really. There weren't many YouTube videos about people's experiences, and I thought it would be helpful for me to share mine, because there were one or two things that I wasn't expecting to happen, which did. So I'll be sure to upload a video about my laparoscopy experience. Anyway, back to the cycle that's been. The first cycle after my failed fresh transfer. Basically, we're going to see if we could conceive naturally this month and next month before September, before our scheduled frozen transfer. Last cycle that's been, I mentioned this after I did my first IVF cycle, that the cycle following the egg collection I did notice ovulation pain. I had the pain on my left side, which is my blocked side. So I immediately assumed that I'd ovulated on my left and that we were out. We had no chances of conceiving this month, and I was right. I'm now cycle day 2. So I've been researching whether or not I should be doing the endometrial scratch, which is a procedure you can get done before a frozen transfer to increase your chances of implantation. So what they do is on day 21, usually around day 21 of your previous cycle before your frozen embryo transfer cycle, they scrape layers of your uterine lining to prepare your uterus for the embryo to implant. It's probably a very bad definition of the procedure. I don't recommend Googling it to get a more in-depth definition, but basically that's what they do, and it is proven to increase your chances of implantation. So I've been thinking about doing that. That would mean I'd need to do that scratch this cycle. I'm currently day 2, so day 21 I'd need to do that, which means we wouldn't be able to try this month naturally, which was another bummer of mine this week. Just I felt like both cycles that we were going to try naturally were just out. But I'd prefer to do the scratch than just the transfer. Of course, you want to increase your chances and do what you can to make it happen. So I think that's what we'll do this month, day 21, which will be around the 22nd-ish of August, 23rd, and then our transfer in September. And like I think I said, we won't be doing another IVF cycle at the clinic we're at. We're just, I don't know, we've got a bit of a bitter taste in our mouths, to be honest. And this scratch should have been recommended to me as well, or suggested to me as an option. We've had 2 failed transfers. They should be doing everything in their power to make this happen for us. And, it's something that I called them with the suggestion a week or so ago, and, they said that that's fine if I want to do that. That's perfectly, it's a good suggestion, but and I know we're probably not classified as multiple failed transfers. I don't know whether that's 3 or more, or I don't know. 2 is plenty for me. I'd like to give it a go. Basically, that's where we're at. We've had a really nice month off. We had a long weekend in South Australia about 2 weeks ago. I think being in limbo and taking a break this last week has been hard for me. A break's good. A break's good for us, and Tim's not ready. I was contemplating moving our embryo transfer to August, and doing the scratch the month that's just been, but I called too late for the scratch, and I didn't want to do the transfer without it. So this month's out and Tim's not ready anyway, so that's fine. 1 more month to wait. And fingers crossed we won't have to do a 3rd round of IVF, and that this frozen transfer will be a success. If you guys have had the endometrial scratch before and had success, I'd love to hear your stories, and also your experiences with it. I'll definitely share mine, and I will be doing my laparoscopy experience video soon, because I think that would be helpful. I think that's about it. I'm sure there was more I had to share, but I can't think of it right now. It's definitely so important to stay positive in this journey, and remind yourself of all of your blessings. That's what I've been doing anyway, and I have many blessings of which I'm so grateful. It's just not always easy, and at the moment it feels like we've had babies being born and friends and family having babies and announcing pregnancies, and it just makes it so much harder, especially when we're in limbo and not actively doing anything. But it is so important to take the time to rest our minds and bodies and relax. I understand the importance of that as well. Yeah, anyway, I've babbled enough. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. Baby dust. And if you've got a question, leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to answer. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Myself in tears. Every day was filled with fear.